Hello everybody, it's Girl Got Game and welcome to a new Gander video. Today I am checking out Saintess of the Golden Bow by Transparent Games. You probably recognize that name by now because I've covered a few of their games on this channel, such as Dusk and Dawn and... what was the other one? The Knight's Dilemma was another one that I really enjoyed. So many good games. This is the latest. This is a demo for their latest game. And yeah, they asked me to check it out a while ago now, and I'm finally getting around to it. So, without further ado, let me tell you the story of Saintess of the Golden Bow. I survive my death event in a web novel and steal the role of the savior from the main character. That's right, we're getting isekaied. I'm an American office worker obsessed with Korean web novels and comics. One day, I get into an accident and die, only to be reincarnated as an extra in one of my favorite books. A boys' love tragedy fantasy novel. I'm supposed to die in this world too, so I can be part of the main character's tragic backstory as his lost love, but I won't lose my life again, so I survived my death event. However, my unexpected survival causes a butterfly effect in the story, and suddenly I replace the main character of the novel and become the Saintess of the Golden Bow. As the savior of the realm, I embark on a quest to defeat the Demon Queen, accompanied by Levi, my valiant knight, and the original saint, the Mad Prince Noah, and the High Priest Elijah. How many more times will I have to avoid death before I can bring peace to the realm again? So there you go. That's our backstory for this. Let's begin. I'm excited. Boop. Wow, already so pretty right off the bat. Ah, just my luck. Why does it have to be pouring now? I want to go home. I'll be soaked by the time I reach the subway. I run down the street, holding my bag over my head in a futile attempt to block the rain. I do my best to stay underneath the shop awnings. The cars speeding down the street, however, kick up puddles that shower me in rainwater. I'm ill-prepared for such weather. I didn't even take a hoodie with me, let alone an umbrella. The damp cold seeps into my body, making me shiver. This day sucks. My boss yelled at me again, and I had to cover for my sick co-worker on top of doing my own tasks. An office job sucks. I recently graduated from college and got this boring job where all I do is call people to sell them beauty products. Adult life sucks. I feel you there, girl. It hadn't taken me long to tire of the monotony of adult life. I just want to curl up under a blanket and read web novels. Being the heroine of a fantasy romance novel would be such an amazing life. Fighting to save a kingdom from impending doom with magical powers and falling in love with a hottie. Thinking about what to read next, I run through the crosswalk, and truck-kun came for me. What? By the time I notice the light is actually red, not green, it's too late. I'm in the middle of the crosswalk with a truck driving straight at me. Should I take a step back or run forward? Quick! Think, Celine! I take a step back, but it's too late. Oh no. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Ah! It hurts. The pain. It's excruciating. My whole body hurts so much. Ugh. Until I suddenly stop feeling anything anymore. The absence of pain brings me relief. I let my life go. She was saved from adulthood. The next thing I know, I'm floating in a cotton-like substance? I feel comforted. Safe, even. Have I really died? Am I in heaven now? Aw, but I wanted to read the last chapter of my favorite author's new web novel. Now I'll never find out what happens to the heroine in the end. A chuckle escapes me, a loud sound in this quiet place. I'm pathetic, aren't I? I died, and now I'm just thinking of my hobbies, not my parents or my friends. Not that I had a great relationship with anybody anyway. I was quite a loner. What is that sound? In the emptiness I can hear someone singing, an angelic voice. It's calling to me. Orion? You must fight on! I must? But I'm dead. I don't have to do anything. Suddenly, I feel a pull. My soul gets grabbed and yanked towards a golden whirlpool. I scream, but no sound comes out of my mouth. I close my eyes, the shifting reality around me making me feel dizzy. This is very pretty. When my senses return to me again, the first thing I notice is the fresh scent of a forest. I open my eyes and look around. I'm in the middle of the woods. Lush canopies of trees above me sway gently in a light breeze. I look a little bit different, but I love the purple. I could not be happier about the state of the purple. There's something heavy in my hand, and when I look down, I see that I'm holding a simple hunting bow. My feet, clad in riding boots, sink into the damp green moss of the forest floor. I'm out hunting, I realize. Wait, how is this possible? I just died, and it's been ages since I handled a bow. The last time I practiced archery was in middle school, back when my parents could still afford to spoil me. I also hadn't put on such high boots today for work, or these fancy pants, or this jacket. The outfit looks almost like it belongs in a Korean webcomic. Who am I?
Celeste? Where are you, Celeste?
Somehow I suddenly realize I'm supposed to be hiding. Hiding from what or whom, I don't understand. I only know I must seek cover. The urge to disappear from sight is so strong that I don't even question it. I find a thicket of bushes and dive into them, not caring that my outfit will get dirty and torn. From my hiding spot, I observe the situation, holding my breath. Oh, a handsome man with red hair tied back in a ponytail runs towards me. He's wearing some sort of fantasy armor, and he has two thin swords on his hips. I recognize this person. This man is my knight, Levi Parent. Wait, I don't have a knight. I'm Celine. I'm a 21-year-old simple American office worker, fresh out of college with a job in sales. Is that really the whole truth, though? Levi turns left and right, searching for me.
Celeste, please come out!
Failing to discover me, he runs off. I recognize this guy's looks from somewhere, and the name Celeste is familiar too. No, I couldn't have! Did I get reincarnated? Here? Out of all the books or games that could have been the setting for my reincarnation, why did I have to end up in the boys love tragic fantasy web novel? Why this one? Saint of the Golden Bow is the work's name. It was recently adapted to a webcomic, that's how popular it was. The book used to be one of my favorites, but the world of this story is not a nice place to live. There's a war going on with a demon queen. And Celeste... Why did I have to be reincarnated as her? What I just witnessed was the opening scene of the book. Before Levi is chosen to become the titular saint, he goes out hunting with his unrequited love, the lady he's serving. He's supposed to protect Celeste, but he loses sight of her at some point, and an ungodly sound makes the hairs on my skin stand up. Oh, well, aren't you friendly looking? I like that it's animated, that's cute. The creature that made the sound appears to my right. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. An abomination. A demon. The imp's leathery wings flap in the air, then the creature flies towards me. It has spotted me. This is the moment when Celeste Coiris dies a miserable death to become part of Levi's tragic backstory. But I just died from being hit by a truck! I don't want to die again! Especially not in a scripted event where I'm supposed to just fade away so I can serve as a part of someone else's tragedy. Not doing anything to save myself is not like me at all. The imp is still far enough away for me to attempt to save my life. I have to act quickly. The monstrosity is coming closer and closer. My hands are sweaty and my arms are shaking. I refuse to give up. You got this, girl. Watch me get a bad end right off the bat. In my hands, I hold the key to my salvation. I pull out an arrow, draw back, and aim at the imp that's flying straight at me. I take a breath and release it, remembering what I was taught in middle school about archery. When I'm sure of my shot and know I can't delay any longer, I send the arrow flying. The arrow hits the demon straight in its ugly little head. Nice. With a final, frightening sound, the monstrosity falls to the ground. And she fell through the world. I breathe heavily, collapsing to my knees. I did it! I thump my balled-up fist against the ground, feeling the damp moss beneath my fingers. I breathe deeply again, taking in the smells of the gorgeous forest. They calm me down. I'm alive! Tears roll down my cheeks. I was terrified, but I survived.
Celeste!
Levi comes running towards me. When he sees the imp dead a few steps away from me and the bow still grasped in my hands, a gasp of surprise escapes his lips.
Celeste! What happened? Did you kill this demon yourself?
I nod, for a moment entertaining the thought that I'm indeed Celeste, not Celine. I open my mouth to explain the situation, but my voice sounds raw and shaky. I killed the demon, I finally manage to whisper. Levi walks up to me and kneels down before me.
My lady, can you walk?
I give his question some thought, but I feel so weak. I wipe my tears away. I don't think so.
I'll carry you.
No, there's no need for... Ah! Nice. Levi takes me in his arms, bridal style. Let's go! Perfect. Good job, Levi. You're already making plays. The bow slips from between my fingers. Our close proximity is so embarrassing. I want to hide my face, but I can only do so against his chest, which is a less than ideal option.
My bow!
Whoa, hello.
Don't worry about the weapon. I will return for your bow later. Right now, it's of utmost importance that I carry you back to the safety of the mansion.
But it's...
I still protest. Levi gives me a glare.
No buts. Let me do my job, for once.
Sorry I took that away from you earlier. I let out a long sigh and stop resisting. Levi walks toward where we left our horses, or so my memory as Celeste recalls. So I really am Celeste now? I'm part of the world of the Saint of the Golden Bow, but I was supposed to die. So what will my survival mean for the story now? Wow. What a room!
All washed up, my lady.
After an awkward bath where I had to let my maid, Linda, wash me, I'm finally dressed in a nightgown and allowed to rest. My body feels weak, the shock of dying, reincarnating, then almost dying again, finally taking a toll on me. A loud yawn escapes my lips. I cover my mouth. I'm going to lie down.
Is there anything else you need from me?
Ah, I forgot I'm supposed to formally dismiss Linda whenever I want to be alone. She's Celeste's servant, after all. I'm good for now. I'll call for you later if I need anything.
All right, my lady.
Linda curtsies before me, and then she exits the room. I sink into the softness of the mattress, taking a good look around the room. This place has an undeniably expensive, polished, fancy look. Somebody has tried very hard to make the atmosphere more feminine, and I know it wasn't Celeste. The Celeste the book mentions is quite the tomboy, caring little for girly things like dolls and decorations. She doesn't have good social skills, she lacks proper knowledge of etiquette, and she dances like an elephant. Instead, she's great at archery, hunting, and riding horses. However, this society deems all of those activities inappropriate for a lady, and thus she doesn't have many friends. Sounds so much like me in my past life. The only two people who really like Celeste are Levi, who, for some reason that isn't really explained in the book, adores his lady, and...
Eurydice. Celeste, are you all right?
Celeste's twin sister Eurydice. The book also briefly mentions Eurydice as part of Levi's backstory, simply describing her as the more ladylike twin who loves pink and romance novels. I feel Celeste's emotions for Eurydice in my heart, though. Celeste really cherishes her sister.
Celeste?
Eurydice notices that I'm staring at her with a faint smile on my face. I'm all right. Thanks for worrying about me. She rushes over to my bed, fixing the pillow under my head and helping me sit up.
Well, of course I'm worried about you. You're my beloved sister. What would I do if I lost you?
Hmm. Yeah, this one. I'm fine. I've been through worse. I quickly sort through Celeste's memories. Remember that time I stole Marquis Hall's prized mare and rolled her into the woods until she threw me off? Then Father and Levi found me lying in the ditch? They looked for that horse for days.
As though the missing horse is the most important part of the story. Your whole side was bruised and you got ill from the cold and the damp.
But you nursed me back to health, didn't you?
Of course. Someone has to take care of you when you don't bother to take care of yourself.
I give her a wide smile. Mission accomplished so far with pretending to be Celeste. Nice.
I really would like to know what happened today, though. Levi babbled something about a demon?
I'd like to know more too, for the matter.
Oh, hello. Father walks into the room without knocking or otherwise warning us of his presence. He has a stern look on his face, but that's just his usual expression. The joy I felt at talking to Eurydice momentarily evaporates. New emotions from Celeste surface in my heart. Her father has always made her feel lesser, inadequate. I review her memories of him and curse inwardly. To say her father favors Eurydice wouldn't at all capture the severe inequality of the situation. During some of their past interactions, he has been outright abusive, belittling Celeste and calling her names. I stiffen my spine, sitting up straight. I took so much shit as Celine, and I'm not going to do it again as Celeste.
What happened today that's left you so disheveled?
I look down at myself. The only blemish in my appearance is a scratch on my knee from where I hid in the bushes. The mark is so small that I didn't even notice it while bathing. Otherwise, I'm wearing a fresh nightgown and all cleaned up. There's nothing disheveled about me. I give Father a defiant look. As you can see, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Father huffs.
You and your sister's 18th birthday is in 3 days. We're leaving for the capital the day after tomorrow. If you're not healed up and in top form by then...
I'll be up and running by tomorrow. My body feels tired and heavy, but it's nothing a bit of sleep can't fix. I see Eurydice scoot slightly to the left, as if taking a step away from Father's negative energy.
You'd better be. I don't want you to ruin the Golden Bow ceremony for your sister. You're banned from leaving the mansion for the next 3 days.
I open my mouth to tell him off, but my eyes land on Eurydice. She shakes her head slightly. To honor her wishes, I decide not to agitate Father any further. All right. I nod. I don't feel like going hunting or horseback riding anyway. Someone would quickly notice that I'm not as good at those activities as Celeste should be. I'm still not sure how much of her skills I can access for myself. Levi set me in front of himself on his horse to return us to the mansion earlier, so I have no idea if I actually know how to ride a horse myself. I only rode a horse once or twice as Celine when I was a kid, not nearly enough to match Celeste's experience.
Now tell me what happened.
I killed a demon. Both Father and Eurydice let out gasps of surprise.
You... what?
Levi said you two had an encounter with a demon, but I assumed he was the one to kill it.
I shake my head and smile. I shot an imp with my bow.
What was such a monstrosity doing in the middle of Lokari Empire lands? We're far from the war front.
The imp was conveniently there to kill Celeste for Levi's tragic backstory. I want to tell the truth, but of course I won't. Father and Eurydice would take me for a mad woman if I babble about them being characters from a novel. I don't know, but the monster attacked me, so I killed it. I shrug like my actions were nothing out of the ordinary. After all, in the face of danger, it's kill or be killed. Father sits down on the chair next to the entrance of my room and hides his face in his hands.
I knew my daughter wasn't much of a noble lady, but this...
He mumbles loudly enough for both Eurydice and I to hear him. My sister and I share a smile.
Where was your knight when the demon attacked you?
I should choose my words carefully. I don't want Levi to take the blame for my actions. I ran off on him again. I wanted to hunt on my own.
Of course.
He lets out a long sigh, like I'm burdening him more than he can bear. My body takes this moment to remind me how tired I am. A big yawn escapes my lips. I cover my mouth with my hand.
Rest.
Father gets up and gestures for Eurydice to leave. Eurydice nods and walks behind him out of the room. She turns back to me when she's in my doorway and gives me a warm smile.
Get some rest. I'll be back later.
I return her smile and sink more deeply into the bed, making myself comfortable. It doesn't take long for me to fall into dreamless slumber. When I wake up again, the rays of morning sun pour into my room. I get out of the bed and stretch to make sure my body's working properly. I feel refreshed after my long sleep. No more weakness in my limbs. Everything's in order again. I walk to the desk and sit down. I take a fresh sheet of paper. I hesitate when I realize there's only a quill for writing, but I won't be stopped. I produce a few scratchy letters. My handwriting looks horrible. It seems I can't directly access Celeste's skills after all. That's quite inconvenient. I can manage to write with a quill, but not very well, and only in English, of course. I have to write down everything I know about the web novel Saint of the Golden Bow so I can organize my knowledge of the world and line it up with Celeste's memories. Scratchy handwriting or not, I need to sort out all my assets. Let's start with the basics. Saint of the Golden Bow is a romantic tragedy fantasy web novel by the Korean web novelist Hanul Kim. I read the English translation on one of my favorite web novel and comic apps. Okay. The story was supposed to be turned into a webcomic and had promo art, which is how I was able to recognize Levi immediately. His design in the artwork even had him in the same outfit he was wearing on the day of the demon attack. Maybe I should also write down... Shh. It's interesting that that's what you... I guess this is just for you. If you're like, what's a web novel? What's a comic? What does BL stand for? You know what? We'll go through it just so she can explain it to everybody. What a web novel is? I scratched down web novel in big letters. Since the beginning of the 21st century, web novels have been immensely popular in South Korea. A web novel is a novel first published on the internet. It grows to have a very specific narrative form. Readers unlock chapters and interact with what they are reading by posting comments. So web novels tend to be very long. Saint of the Golden Bow was an exception. It wasn't that long of a book, but it still got over 100 chapters. It was translated to English and published on one of my favorite web novel and comic apps. I was grateful for the chance to read it in English, as I don't know Korean. Okay. What a webcomic is? I penned down webcomic in big letters on my sheet of paper. Webcomics are often adaptations of web novels. Each episode is published on a reading app as a long vertical strip. Some even feature music, composed specifically for the chapters, but those are rare. Unlike other Asian comics like manga, webcomics are in color. They are published digitally too, though sometimes they also end up being printed as books. There's a very popular genre of webcomics right now called otome isekai. In those stories, a girl from Earth dies and is reincarnated as a character in a visual novel or web novel. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I've been as isekaied, haven't I? Not as a villainess, though, a bad character, like in most of these stories. Instead, I'm what is referred to as an extra, an insignificant character. Maybe that's for the best. After all, being a minor character means I couldn't have messed up the story too much by avoiding my planned death in the plot. Only time will tell. Alright. What BL is? I scribbled BL on the paper. Boys Love is a genre of Asian media that centers around relationships between two men, but is geared towards the female audience. It's romantic and simply wonderful to watch two men fall in love with each other. Ah, I'm really such a simp for good boys love romance. Alright. Nothing else. I've got the basics, that's enough. I get up for a moment and wander over to the mirror. I'm just, like... If father came in and was like, why is she writing about boys' love? Scandalous. I get up for a moment and wander over to the mirror. I touch a hand to the glass. The design of Celeste wasn't included in the promo art. I take in my new features. Purple hair and pink eyes. A slender figure. There's no denying it. I'm really not Celine anymore. The understanding that I have reincarnated into the novel finally settles in my mind. I feel calm. Calmer than I ever thought I would be if something out of a novel suddenly changed the course of my life. There's no fighting the reality, is there? As strange as the situation is, I'm Celeste, and I have her memories. But somehow I'm Celine as well, equipped with knowledge of this world that Celeste never had. I walk back to the desk and sit down to continue organizing my thoughts. Maybe after I process everything, I will break down and cry about my fate. Right now, however, I don't feel like moping around. Instead, I want to fight for a better fate. Back to Saint of the Golden Bow. The book starts with Celeste's death event. Levi was in love with his lady for years, but the actual love interest of the story is Prince Noah. Celeste has to die at the beginning of the book to make Levi feel at his lowest when the Golden Bow chooses him as the saint. Why didn't Celeste save herself if she was said to be so great at archery? Must be book logic. She had to die for the story in The Saint of the Golden Bow to proceed the way it did. Soon after Celeste's death, Levi's quest to save the Lokari Empire from the Demon Queen begins. However, he doesn't go alone. Noah, as well as High Priest Elijah, the second love interest, both accompany him on the journey. Noah and Levi fall in love. Elijah falls in love with Levi too, but Levi chooses Noah. When the final confrontation with the Demon Queen happens, the love Noah and Levi share is an important component of defeating the fiend. Through their love, the magic of the weapon becomes stronger. However, the story is a tragic one. Even though Levi defeats the Demon Queen, he perishes in the process. Noah and Elijah live on, and peace returns to the Lokari Empire. I remember crying at the end of the book and cursing the author for writing such a beautiful yet heart-wrenching tale. I reread the novel twice. Saint of the Golden Bow is really one of my favorite stories. Okay, I was curious if it was finished, if she had read the entire thing through, so she's read it through twice. That's good. I still don't appreciate being reincarnated into this world, though, especially not as Celeste, whose only purpose in the story is to add angst to Levi's life. I didn't die when I was supposed to, though, and now the story has continued regardless. I wonder how many things will change because Celeste is alive. Can Levi still fall in love with Noah despite the fact that I'm still here? I really want my ship to sail and for the boys to get together, but I don't know if that outcome is possible under these circumstances. My ship! If Levi and Noah don't fall in love at the end of the quest, will Levi still be able to defeat the Demon Queen? But what if you were chosen by the bow instead? I shudder. What if I've broken the story beyond repair by avoiding my demise? What was I supposed to do, though? Just roll over and die? That's so not like me. I'm a fighter. Maybe I can change the story even further so that Levi can still survive the final encounter? I have no idea how to make this plan work, but maybe opportunities to influence the world further will present themselves to me in the form of choices. After all, though the thought is chilling, what's happening here isn't just a web novel story. Saint of the Golden Bow is my new reality. Wow. My goodness. There's the bow. On the day of Celeste and Eurydice's 18th birthday, Father takes us to the capital to attend the Golden Bow ceremony. Levi had his 18th birthday a few days ago as well. Wow. Since he's of lower standing than the Count's family, Father got the approval of the church for Levi to attend our ceremony together with us instead of his own a few days earlier.
Your knight has to guard you at all times.
Father had said to Celeste before I reincarnated into her body. After the encounter with the imp, he's become even more convinced that Levi shouldn't leave my side. Not that Levi is complaining about having to stick close to me, for obvious reasons. Now, Eurydice, Levi, and I stand in the middle of the chapel in the royal palace in Solace, Lokari Empire's capital. Behind us are the many other people who will be tested. Whoa. Hello, High Priest Elijah. Man, CGs are gorgeous in this. Before us, the High Priest Elijah Soren takes a spot behind the titular golden bow, the fabled artifact that will choose the saint one day. I know that day will be today, since Levi is the one who will be chosen. I eye the bow with suspicion. Light reflects off its gold-covered surface. The design is pretty and elaborate. Looks like a pain in the ass to use as a weapon. Too ornamental for my taste.
We are all gathered here today to see if the golden bow, the weapon given to us by our Lord to help us one day defeat the vile demon queen, will finally choose its saint. On this beautiful morning, when the sun's rays fall through the windows of our chapel, let us give our gratitude to the Lord. He has given us means to end the war that has been raging for so many decades.
I've never been particularly religious, even in my past life. I especially don't believe in a fantasy god, but
Let us give our gratitude.
Let us give our gratitude.
when Eurydice and Levi bow their heads and say the words of a prayer, along with all the other people in the hall, I mumble the words as well.
Let us give our gratitude.
Let's give our gratitude. I don't want to draw suspicion to myself after all.
20 years ago, the blessed blacksmith was bestowed with the Lord's inspiration and crafted the golden bow. He worked tirelessly day and night until finally he completed the artifact. Ever since then, the people of the Lokari Empire have sought to be tested on the day of their 18th birthday by the golden bow. The artifact will choose its wielder. That person will become the saint and be tasked with defeating the demon queen who has terrorized our borders for 23 years.
I'm glad Elijah reminds us of the history of the bow. I've forgotten some of the details.
I will now call forth today's attendees to be tested. Each of you just needs to touch the golden bow once, and its judgment will be bestowed on you.
Elijah takes out a sheet of paper and reads the first name from the list.
Eurydice de Coirus, daughter of Count de Coirus.
Eurydice approaches the bow. She puts a hand on the artifact. Nothing happens. Of course, what else did I expect? Levi is the saint. The golden bow will only glow for him. A frown appears on the high priest's brow as he reads the next name. Elijah, do you know that I'm not supposed to be here?
Celeste de Coirus, daughter of Count de Coirus.
Oh, she's got a dress on today. Nice. I take a deep breath and step onto the podium. Reminding myself I shouldn't expect anything, I put my hand on the weapon. For a moment, nothing happens, but then... You have been chosen. The bow glows, its light getting brighter and brighter with each second. The light feels scorching hot. I close my eyes, worrying I'll go blind if I don't. You must fight on! I hear the angelic voice again. Was the bow the one speaking to me when I reincarnated? Or was it the god of light himself? The thought that I may have been addressed by a deity is frightening. No, gods aren't real. You're not religious, Celine.
The golden bow!
The burning light makes my skin feel like it's on fire, so I take my hand away from the bow. But my hand continues burning, the searing pain climbing up my arm to my chest. Ah! I scream. My head is spinning. The pain is too much for me to handle. I want it to stop! Stop! I'm on fire! I'm dying! Not again!
Lady Celeste! Sister!
Levi and Eurydice are calling to me, but I don't have the strength to respond. My consciousness fades, darkness taking me into its comforting embrace. I feel so groggy. I think I'm alive. I'm in the guest room of the apartment that was assigned to our family when we first arrived at the palace for the ceremony. The impersonal decor makes the place feel cold and unwelcoming. I know the room is supposed to look grand and elegant, but I don't feel at home here at all.
Lady Celeste can't be the Saintess of the Golden Bow. The role is too dangerous for her.
I turn my head to the left. Levi and Eurydice stand by the door. Neither of them notice I'm awake.
Just imagining her going on the dangerous quest to defeat the Demon Queen makes me terrified for her life. We have to stop the Church and Empress from declaring her to be the Saintess.
Levi, it's not for us to decide who the Saintess is. Neither is it the choice of the Church or the Empress. It's the God of Light who singled out Celeste to be the savior of our empire.
This must be some kind of mistake.
Levi, you're committing blasphemy here. You can't go against God's wishes.
But Lady Celeste is...
Look, I know you're worried for my sister, but please mind your words. If someone other than me hears your opinion about God's choice, you may get in trouble.
So I really am the Saintess of the Golden Bow? I speak up, not believing my own words. Levi and Eurydice turn to me. Eurydice runs up to the bed and takes my hand in hers.
Celeste, you're awake! How are you feeling?
Fine, I think. Just a bit tired.
You really scared us in the chapel. You screamed like someone was tearing you apart.
The light of the bow entering my body felt like it was burning me.
That sounds horrible.
Tears well up in Eurydice's eyes. I squeeze her hand, trying to comfort her. I glance behind her to where Levi still stands by the door. He has a defeated look on his face. When he notices me watching him, he finally approaches the bed, standing behind Eurydice. I can't be the Saintess. It was supposed to... I cut myself off when I realized I almost just said that Levi was supposed to be chosen as the saint. I can't tell them what happens in the book. They don't even know they live in a fictional world. For some inexplicable reason, the Golden Bow, or the God of Light himself, has chosen me instead as the savior of the Lokari Empire. Why me? I ponder out loud. I'm so confused. I don't want to be the Saintess. Why has the story suddenly changed so much? I only did my best to survive. Did the fact that I wasn't slain by the demon really create such a severe butterfly effect? Well, if the god of this world brought you here from your world, I assume he wanted this to happen? Maybe he wants his ship to sail and he doesn't want Levi to die at the end of the story. So he's like, come on, girl, get in here. Or had I already been chosen at the moment of my reincarnation? I remember the angelic voice of the bow sounding just like the voice I had heard after dying in the accident as Celine.
I'm sure you'll do fine. You're excellent at archery.
Eurydice smiles through her tears, trying to reassure me. I'm not as confident about my fighting skills as Eurydice is. Celeste may have been good at the bow, but I can't access her full abilities. Judging by my handwriting, I can only manage the bare minimum of what she could do. I'm not proficient in any of her skills. I only know how to use the bow somewhat from my experience as Celine in middle school. Oh, this whole situation is so depressing. No, I mustn't lose heart. I have to stay strong and face my fate head on. What's going to happen to me now?
The Empress has summoned you for an audience. 3 hours from now.
What does the Empress want with me? Eurydice wipes her tears away.
She didn't say, but we think she intends to personally congratulate you on your new role.
All right. I suppose I should start getting ready then.
First, High Priest Elijah requested a check on you as soon as you woke up.
Check on me?
With his light magic. He wants to see if your body and mind are all right after being touched by God's grace.
I'm feeling okay, but I suppose I shouldn't turn away a member of the church. Not complying with their wishes might be dangerous now that I'm somewhat part of their organization. The reality is so overwhelming that I would really prefer to be alone now, but there's no time for me to mull over what has happened. The chance to break down will come later, after everyone goes to sleep. Okay, you can tell the High Priest I will see him.
I'll go bring him here.
Levi turns around and walks out of the room in long strides. Eurydice gives me a comforting smile.
Everything's going to be okay.
I hope so too. Silence falls between us, but it's a cozy, warm kind of quiet. I get the feeling that no matter what happens, Eurydice will support me. I envy Celeste for having such a great sister and friend. I should use this opportunity to ask Eurydice some questions about my situation. I'll just have to be careful about how I broach the topics. I don't want to reveal my jumbled knowledge about the world. What exactly does it mean to have the role of the Saintess?
The Saintess is the fourth most important person in the Lokari Empire, after the Empress, her Emperor Consort, and the Crown Prince. You're on par with the head of the church, the High Priest.
Am I part of the church now?
You're not a priest or priestess, if that's what you're asking. You're still a noble, so you can marry someone of noble standing if you'd like. You're not sworn like the clergy to only marry within the church.
Ah, I remember this subplot regarding Elijah. He wouldn't be able to be with Levi because Elijah is only allowed to marry someone from the priesthood. Forbidden love, a popular trope. Marriage, that feels so far away.
We're 18 now, so Father will probably help us find suitable suitors soon.
Suitable suitors?
I would like to marry for love, if at all possible.
Love. Love was one of the components needed to defeat the Demon Queen. Levi and Noah's love. Would I have to fall in love with someone now that I was the Saintess? I hope I'll have enough time if that's really necessary. I'm not someone who falls in love easily, but for the good of the story, I shall fall in love. Do you have someone in mind for marriage?
What? Maybe?
You can tell me. I'm not going to tell anybody.
Maybe another time. I'm not ready to admit it myself.
Eurydice is adorable when she's shy. How long has the Empire waited for the Saintess?
As the High Priest said, the golden bow was created by the blessed blacksmith 20 years ago, before we were even born. They say he worked tirelessly day and night for 2 weeks to create the artifact. The design was bestowed upon him by the god of light himself. The blessed blacksmith said God told him in a dream that the golden bow will choose its saint when the time is right. Only the saint can wield the weapon and harness its power.
What Eurydice tells me aligns with the backstory I already know from the novel, but it's good to be reminded about the details. I listen intently. What kind of power does the golden bow have?
Light-aligned magic, the kind that the priests wield. It is said that only an arrow shot from the artifact will be able to kill the Demon Queen.
The usual fantasy world MacGuffin, then. For plot reasons, other weapons can't harm the ultimate boss. Right, makes sense. It doesn't, but Eurydice doesn't seem to be aware of how ridiculous it is that only one weapon wielded by one special person can kill the enemy that the Empire has been fighting against for decades.
After the golden bow was created, the whole Lokari Empire and our allied kingdom of Durandal were tested to see if the saint was among them. But the savior wasn't found. Later, it was decided that every person would get tested on their 18th birthday, as suggested by the blessed blacksmith. 20 years passed, but the saint still wasn't found. Until now.
It feels so random that I was actually chosen as the Saintess. But it's my reality now. This world seems to operate on book logic anyway. What do we know about the Demon Queen?
The people who have seen her say she looks like a beautiful woman, except she also has horns, a tail, and a third eye on her forehead. But she's far from human. She's cruel and dangerous. She kills humans without mercy. She commands an army of demons, vile monstrosities. You saw one. Was it as ugly as they say?
The imp wasn't pretty, that's for sure.
The war has been going on for 23 years now. Over that time, 1/3 of Lokari Empire's lands to the east have been ravaged by war and infiltrated by the demons. They leave only ruins behind when they take over a town. Their fire is said to be ever burning. You'll have to travel east to defeat the Demon Queen. She's taken up residence in the Cloumond Castle. It used to be the seat of Duke Cloumond and his family, but they had to abandon their homeland to the demons 10 years ago.
That news doesn't make me want to go to the border at all. It'll be like walking straight into the maws of the enemy.
I fear you won't have a choice in the matter. The Empress decreed long ago that once the Saint or Saintess was found, they would immediately embark on the quest to defeat the Demon Queen, with a party of the most capable fighters.
A quest, huh? Sounds like a story from a role-playing game. Not that I expect anything else from this book world. Levi went on this quest as the Saint, after all.
I just hope you won't have to leave too soon.
I think I'll need some time to learn to wield the golden bow and to accept the whole situation.
I'm sure the Empress will understand.
Those are all the questions I have, for now at least. Thank you for helping me sort through everything, sister. Eurydice gives me a bright smile.
That's what I'm here for. One thing's certain. The people of the Lokari Empire have been waiting for the Saintess for ages. A lot of faith will be put into your abilities. A lot will be expected from you. I don't envy you. If I could, I would share this burden with you.
Thank you. I'm really moved by Eurydice's dedication to me. There's a knock on the door, then Levi's voice can be heard from the other side.
High Priest Elijah and Count Decoyrus have arrived.
They can enter. He looks so happy. Father looks displeased. Elijah comes into the room, followed by Father. Levi closes the door behind them, remaining in the living room of our apartment to guard the entrance. The High Priest bears a friendly smile. Father, on the other hand, wears his usual scowl on his face. He seems like he wants to say something. I give him an inquiring look, which is met with a glare. I don't know if I should laugh or cry at the fact that his disposition towards Celeste hasn't changed, even in the middle of such a life-changing situation. What does Celeste have to do for her father to show her affection? If I had any hope that he would be proud of me now that I had suddenly advanced to a great position in the hierarchy of the Empire, it evaporates now. I decide not to say anything to Father while Elijah is around. I don't want him to witness a fight between us, and I doubt I can hold my tongue right now.
May I sit beside you?
Sure. Elijah approaches and sits beside me on the bed.
I need to touch you to make sure you're healthy. Is that all right?
Is that how light magic works? As someone who reincarnated here from Earth, I have little knowledge about magic. I don't remember a scene like this one with the High Priest in the book. Suspicious. Come to think of it, Levi didn't faint after touching the golden bow. He must have a much stronger resistance to pain than I do. Celeste doesn't know much about magic either. She has no magical powers of her own, after all. Nobody in the Decoyrus family does. If Elijah says he has to touch me for his magic to work, though, I doubt he's lying. I look at him. He stares back at me with a patient smile. The High Priest is really attractive. I never thought I would find a guy with pink hair dashing. But he must have the longest lashes I've ever seen on a man. I blush, realizing I'm checking Elijah out. He's a priest! For heaven's sake! Eurydice just reminded me that he can only marry within the clergy. He's off limits. Besides, he only wants to touch me to make sure I'm okay. Stupid hormones. I clear my throat, though I can do nothing to stop my cheeks from burning. All right, go ahead. Oh, is that necessary? I mean, I'll take it, but... When purple meets pink. Elijah surprises me by leaning his forehead against mine. Well, rip to Levi, just being like, it should have been me! Before I can protest, an aura of white surrounds his body. He's really working his magic on me, if you know what I'm saying. I close my eyes and focus on how his magic makes me feel. His touch is pleasant and warm. I become strangely comforted. Before I realize what I'm doing, I lean in closer towards him. Are you doing this on purpose, Elijah? Elijah's chuckle makes me snap out of the comforting embrace of his magic.
Light magic does have a good feel, doesn't it?
There's a twinkle in his eye and a confident smirk on his face. Is he flirting with me? Ah! Embarrassed, I pull away. Yep. Healthy as an ox. Thanks for that, Elijah. Appreciate you.
Lady Celeste is healthy. I can also confirm that the Golden Bow's magic has entered her body. She's the Saintess.
Father lets out a heavy sigh.
I hope you won't embarrass me.
I glare at him, pursing my lips. I want to call him out on his unkind behavior, but I stop myself. I turn back to Elijah instead. Thank you for the checkup.
You're welcome.
Only 2 hours remain now until Celeste has to attend the audience with the Empress.
Ah, yes, we should go and let Sister prepare for seeing the Empress.
I want to keep talking with Elijah. If anyone can explain to me more about the Golden Bow's magic, it's him. Unfortunately, now is not the right time. Father rings the bell. A moment later, Linda appears in the doorway.
Make Celeste presentable for meeting the Empress and Emperor Consort.
Yes, my lord.
Everyone says their goodbyes to me and they leave me alone with my maid. I follow a step behind Father. We walk through the corridors of the palace to the throne room where the Empress and the Emperor Consort are waiting for us. As I watch Father's back, I feel Celeste's resentment for him resurface. No, resentment isn't a strong enough term to describe her feelings. Celeste hates her father. Not without reason, either. What he's done to her over the years is something I can only describe as pure abuse. He's belittled her constantly, both in public and in private. His favorite title for her is his no-good daughter. He has always made her feel like she is less than Eurydice, unworthy of his praise. The only time he ever pulls his attention away from Eurydice is when Celeste misbehaves. Celeste's mother died when the two girls were young. Celeste has no memory of her and no one to shield her from her father's wrath. Maybe that situation is why Celeste is always out hunting or horseback riding, taking herself far away from Father and her duties as a noble lady. And Levi, he has watched Celeste suffer at Father's hand. I have a memory of him standing up for his love and Father having him flogged for it. After that event, Celeste forbade her knight to ever act in her defense again in front of her father. Levi protested, but Celeste insisted, using her authority as his noble lady to make him agree. In the years that followed, they both suffered. Celeste from her father's abuse, and Levi watching his love in pain. How could I not hate Celeste's father for his disgusting behavior? A pang of loneliness shoots through my heart. My parents never abused me, but I wasn't from a picture-perfect family either. There was a lot of fighting between Mom and Dad before they finally divorced. I was 14 when they parted ways, and I had a lot of trouble accepting that the situation wasn't my fault. I tried to help them fix their broken relationship before the divorce, but they didn't believe their marriage was worth saving. Eventually, everything fell apart, regardless of my efforts. Ever since then, I've had trouble trusting anybody enough to fall in love. I had a boyfriend in high school, but he broke up with me because I was too cold and emotionless towards him, his exact words. At the time, I just didn't know how to show love, or if I should even be open about my deep feelings for him at that early stage of our relationship. Both Celeste and Celine have their own baggage. Still, I was finding it very hard not to talk back to Father whenever he was rude to me. Celeste had long since given up on their relationship and simply chose to ignore his outbursts, but letting someone belittle me wasn't my style. I realize Father has stopped walking when I almost bump into him, stopping just in time to avoid the collision.
High Priest Elijah.
Hello again, Saintess, Count Decoirus.
Elijah nods at us with a soft smile, ignoring Levi's presence, of course. Knights in the Lokari Empire are just guards to their nobles. Elijah doesn't think much about Levi in this reality. Levi is not the saint, after all.
I decided to join you during the audience.
We're happy to have you.
Are you ready to enter?
I'm not, but then again I'm not sure if I ever will be. Father nods in response to Elijah's words before I can protest.
Let's enter.
The guards in front of the throne room entrance open the door, and Father and Elijah enter the hall. I turn to Levi. Now more than ever, I need the support of someone who I know cares for me. Even if Levi won't be allowed to say anything during the audience, I want him present at my side. Come in with me. You'll only be able to stay by the door, but I want you to be there for this conversation.
All right.
I enter the throne room as well now, Levi following behind me. The Empress is sitting on her throne, and the Emperor Consort is lounging in the smaller chair next to her. The throne room background reminds me a lot of Cinderella Phenomenon, actually. Well, aren't you two fabulous? Empress Morel is as radiant in person as she is in Celeste's memories. Wearing a golden gown, she is the son of the Lokari Empire. Her husband, Emperor Consort Lucius, comes from our allied country, Durandal. He's called the Moon of the Lokari Empire. When the Empress sees us approach, she gives us a bright smile.
At last, the prophesied Saintess stands before me in the flesh.
I smile and make my best attempt at curtsy, following Celeste's memory. The wince on Father's face tells me I failed to move properly. For some reason, I find his expression funny. I cover my mouth so that nobody sees the smirk on my face. If I embarrass Father in front of the Empress, I can't say it wouldn't be enjoyable. Father and Elijah make smooth bows.
Thank you for the chance to have an audience with you, Your Grace. Grace to be in your presence again, O radiant lady. Of course, how could I not gaze upon the chosen heroine with my own eyes? The Empire has been awaiting her for over 20 years. Though I'm surprised your daughter is the one who turned out to be the Saintess, Count Alaric.
A nervous chuckle escapes Father's lips.
She's always been good with the bow. So I've heard. Your daughter doesn't act much like a noble lady, does she? She does have a reputation for enjoying quite boyish activities.
Father's face turns beet red. He's embarrassed because of me. I realize I shouldn't let myself be too happy about the situation, though. There's too much at stake. I can't ignore the fact that as the Saintess, I have an important role to uphold in the Lokari Empire. As Eurydice explained to me, I'm the fourth most important person in the hierarchy now. No pressure! It seems the Empress finds me lacking as well, and having her, out of all people, displeased with me is not good. I remember Noah's plotline from the novel. The Empress sends him on the quest with Levi to defeat the Demon Queen, even though Noah is the heir to the throne. Or so he should be, being Empress Morel's firstborn. However, the monarch is a very controlling person. She doesn't want to give up the power of her throne to anybody, so she hopes to continue ruling through her child once she abdicates. Due to the law of the Lokari Empire, a person can only rule for 40 years before they have to pass on the role to another. The Empress is aging, but based on what I know from the novel, her hunger for power over the years has only grown. She wants to keep her influence over the politics of the Empire. However, Noah, her heir, isn't someone who can be easily controlled. The Empress has a secret second son, however, 10-year-old Matteo, whom she's raising to be completely obedient and reliant on her own opinions. She only sends Noah on the mission because she hopes he will die so she can establish Matteo as her new heir. She can't pronounce someone else the crown prince until Noah is gone. Someone as ruthless as the Empress is definitely not a good enemy to have.
It's known that Count Decoyrus has two daughters. The one who's a perfect image of a noble lady, and the one who's a tomboy. I suppose the girl that stands before us, although dressed in finery, is not much of a proper noble.
Silence falls in the room. Everyone looks at me, expecting me to answer. Under the sudden attention, my mouth is dry and I can't find my words. They don't know much about Celeste, but rumors precede her. They have already judged her. Me. Why did I think I would suddenly gain respect by becoming the Saintess when Celeste's questionable reputation has been spreading for years? In a sense, it's good that everyone expects Celeste to be quite lousy at etiquette. After all, I have no idea how to curtsy or properly use the utensils or dance like a graceful noble lady. Since Celeste's skills didn't directly transfer to me, if she really had been a perfect lady, I would have suddenly looked like an imposter. Still, I don't want the Empress to think I'm worthless as a Saintess, too. If she deems me inadequate like Father does, will she try to get rid of me so the Golden Bow can choose another saint? I don't think she has a very forgiving personality, judging by how much she hates her own son. Speak of the devil. Just when I gather my words to speak, the door to the throne room bursts open. Dang. Dang. Well, hello. A well-posed, tall, blonde man enters the room in a dramatic fashion, his cloak waving behind him in the sudden draft of air. He is Noah, Levi's love interest in the book. He's one of the most handsome guys I've ever seen, next to Levi and Elijah. His skin is darker than most Lokari Empire nobles, but only slightly. Noah is of mixed race. The current Emperor consort is not Noah's father, but the previous consort was from our allied country Durandal, which happens to be in the south. The Durendi are known for having darker complexions. Noah inherited most of his features from the Empress, though. When he spots me, a smirk appears on his face. His red eyes shine with mischief.
Knock, knock. Did I miss anything?
Oh no, he's so obnoxious.
Big Luke Wright energy. Oh,
Fashionably late as always, my son.
If I missed nothing, there was nothing to miss. This is the Saintess, right? Count Decoris's tomboy daughter.
I hold back a groan. Even Noah knows about Celeste's reputation.
Yes, that's me.
You're good at archery, are you not? Better than you are at etiquette, at the very least.
Yes, I'm quite good with the bow.
Probably not as good as Celeste was, though, I presume, judging by her renowned reputation. At least I'm still good enough to shoot arrows with decent accuracy. I just need to practice a bit more and remember everything I learned in middle school.
Quite. Then you'll be perfect for the role of the Saintess.
How can you say that? If a lacking individual takes up such a high role in the hierarchy of the Empire...
All the Saintess needs to do is shoot the golden bow and hit the Demon Queen straight in the heart. Then the war will finally be over.
I will say at least this guy gets it.
Is that not what you want, Mother?
I want peace more than anything else.
That's a lie. With the army off fighting at the war front, the Empress feels more secure in her rule here in the capital.
Do you question God's will, Empress? It is the Lord who has chosen Lady Celeste to be the Saintess of the Golden Bow. While Celeste may be lacking in some other areas, she asserts she's great at archery, and her reputation confirms her words.
Right, Mother, so you shouldn't worry. Lady Decoris will make an excellent Saintess.
I wish I could share the faith these two have in me. Still, I have to maintain a confident front, so I put on my brightest smile. Please don't worry about anything, Your Grace. I'll defeat the Demon Queen and bring peace to the Empire. Empress Morel gives me a long look. After a moment, the confident smirk that Noah inherited from her is back on her face.
Excellent! Then there's nothing stopping us from proceeding with the mission to defeat the Demon Queen, is there? Noah, you will be the one leading the Saintess's quest.
Noah's eyes widen. He opens his mouth and closes it.
But
You will lead the Saintess's quest, and you will take the 20 best men from the Palace Guard, the Mage's Tower, and the church to accompany you. And you will leave in a month.
in a month?
So soon? Shock makes my heart beat erratic. With my current archery skills, I'm nowhere near ready to defeat a powerful enemy so soon.
Is there a problem? You said you're great at using the bow, and that's all you need to be a successful Saintess, right?
The Empress has really turned the tables on me. I can't deny her words, and neither can Noah. After all, we're the ones who just made those claims to her.
I simply thought we'd have more time to prepare.
There is no more time. Not with the Demon Queen's army closing in more and more on the capital in recent years. I think the Saintess and you are ready enough.
But
Do you question the Empress's judgment?
The Emperor and Noah glare at each other. Noah doesn't respond. He finally just turns around and walks toward the door.
Noah, you will prepare for the quest and depart in a month.
as you wish, Your Grace.
If it's not too much to ask, I want to accompany the Saintess and the Prince on their quest.
Elijah's request surprises me for a moment until I remember that he wanted to join the mission when Levi was the Saint as well.
Are you sure, High Priest? You will be leaving your office behind for 2 months. Yes, I'm sure. I'll take Gareth with me as well. Meredith can manage running the office on her own. I'll appoint some people to help her with the paperwork. The Saintess's quest will be a historic moment in the life of the Lokari Empire. I wouldn't want to miss witnessing the Saintess defeat the Demon Queen.
He has strange tastes, but with Elijah's light magic, our success will be easier. I don't protest. We'll need all the help we can get.
All right, you may go as well. Thank you, Your Grace. I will organize a ball to celebrate the finding of the Saintess tomorrow evening. Be sure to attend, all of you.
We all reply we'll be there, and after some final departing words, we're dismissed. Alright, well, I think that is probably going to be the best place for us to stop for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the demo that we got to see. It was great. I'm fully invested in this story. I'm really curious how things are going to play out with these love interests now that a wrench has been thrown into the works, so to speak, you know? Should be interesting. But anyway, if you guys would like to check out the demo for yourself, I will have a link to it down below. I think there's an extended demo coming out at the end of this month as well, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, wishing all the best to Transparent Games as they continue their work on this project, because it looks great so far, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be like when it's all done. Thank you guys very much for joining me today, and until next time, I will see you later.